Ravi sat in his small, dimly lit workshop, the hum of old machines filling the air. His hands were greasy from fixing a broken thruster coil, but his eyes kept drifting to the flickering screen. In the corner, it displayed an interstellar auction site, a place where traders like him could buy abandoned cargo, scrap metal, or anything else that might be worth reselling. Business had been slow for weeks. Most of the good deals were snatched up by bigger salvage crews with faster ships and better scanners. Ravi usually got the leftovers: dented panels, broken drones, cracked hull plates. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid enough for food and fuel. Tonight, the auction seemed quieter than usual. Only a few names were bidding, and most lots were already overpriced for his budget. Ravi scrolled lazily, his finger tapping the edge of the control pad. Then he saw it. Lot 49, miscellaneous debris from derelict vessel condition, unverified. May contain salvageable material. Location: Cargo Depot 7, Sector V43. Starting price: for 100 credits. Ravi raised an eyebrow. That was cheap, too cheap. Even a crate of scrap wire would sell for more. The listing had no extra pictures, just a blurry silhouette of a rectangular container. There were no interested bidders, no comments, no history on the seller. He leaned back in his chair. Either it's completely worthless, or it's something someone forgot about. His mind began turning over possibilities. Sometimes a miscellaneous debris lot could hide something useful, like a working battery unit, a set of unbroken panels, or rare metals mixed in with the junk. Once, a friend of his had bought a similar lot and found a nearly intact mining drone. It sold for 10 times the price he'd paid. The timer on the auction read 3 minutes. 14 seconds left. Ravi wiped his hands on a rag and leaned closer to the screen. For 100 credits. That was barely a week's worth of earnings for him. He could take the risk. If it was junk, he'd lose a little. If it wasn't, the counter dropped. 2 minutes, 50 seconds. He hovered his finger over the bid button, hesitating. That's when a new thought entered his mind. Why was nobody else bidding? Maybe there was a hidden fee, or maybe the lot was damaged beyond repair. Still, it was just sitting there, waiting. All right, fine, he muttered to himself. Let's gamble a little. With a quick tap, he placed a bid for 100 credits. The timer kept ticking. No other bids came in. The seconds slipped away. 1 minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 for 3. Beep. Congratulations! You've won lot 49. Delivery scheduled within 24 hours. Ravi stared at the screen for a moment. Well, that was easy. He felt a small rush of satisfaction. It wasn't every day you won something without a fight. The system prompted him to confirm the delivery location. He selected his hangar, a cramped but functional space on the far side of the outpost, tucked between a repair shop and a storage unit. After the purchase was finalized, the auction window closed. A small note appeared on the receipt: cargo. Weight: classified. Handle with care. Ravi frowned. Classified. That was unusual. Usually, auction items had clear weight and size information for shipping purposes. But he shrugged it off. It probably just meant the seller didn't bother filling out the form. He powered down the terminal, washed his hands, and made himself a simple dinner: reheated ration stew and a flatbread. As he ate, he kept wondering what lot 49 might be. An old navigation console, a sealed crate of starship tools, maybe even a rare metal block. By the time he finished eating, his curiosity was stronger than his appetite. He found himself imagining all the possible finds and all the possible disappointments. That night, as he lay in his narrow bunk, the hum of the station's ventilation seemed louder than usual. He couldn't stop thinking about the delivery. The next morning came with the sound of heavy metal thuds outside his hangar. Ravi climbed out of bed, still half asleep, and peered out the small window. A cargo drone was hovering near the entrance, its metal arms lowering a large crate onto the landing pad. Fast delivery, Ravi muttered. Pulling on his jacket, he stepped outside, blinking against the harsh light of the system's twin suns. The crate sat in front of him, tall, rectangular, and cleaner than he expected. Most auction junk arrived dented, scratched, and covered in travel dust. This one looked almost new. The drone beeped once, projected a short holographic delivery receipt, and flew off without a word. Ravi walked around the crate, running his hand along its smooth surface. No rust, no dents. There was a faint blue glow coming from thin seams in the sides. That was odd. Scrap metal didn't usually glow. He bent down and found a small control panel near the base. It was locked with a simple touch code, nothing advanced, out of habit. He tapped a few standard override sequences. The panel flickered to life. Lines of alien script scrolled across the small screen. Ravi's translation chip hummed in his ear, converting the words into common. Stasis containment. Unit. Handle with extreme care. Ravi froze. Stasis containment? That was used for storing living beings or delicate biological material. His heart began to race. This couldn't be right. Auctions didn't sell living cargo. It was against every law in the outer colonies, yet here it was. The crate gave a soft, mechanical hiss. A section of the front slowly slid open, revealing a transparent, glass-like surface. Inside, surrounded by faint blue light, was the figure of a person, a young woman. Her hair floated around her head in slow motion, shimmering like threads of silver underwater. Her eyes were closed, her expression peaceful, as if she were simply sleeping. She wore a strange garment of deep blue fabric, covered with faint symbols that glowed in time with the stasis light. Ravi stumbled back, his breath catching in his throat, above her head. A small panel displayed alien writing. In the translation, Chip whispered the words into his ear, Princess Leora of the House of Velen. He stared at her, his mind struggling to process what he was seeing. He hadn't bought scrap. He hadn't even bought cargo. He had just taken possession of someone important, someone who definitely wasn't supposed to be here. And somewhere, he realized, someone else was probably looking for her. Ravi's hands trembled as he stood before the stasis pod. He could see her more clearly now. Her skin pale but warm in tone, her silver hair glowing faintly in the blue light. Her breathing slow and steady. She didn't look hurt. She didn't look like she had been in danger. She looked like she had been waiting. He took a deep breath, trying to steady his thoughts. This is crazy, he whispered to himself. How did this end up in an auction? Who even sells something like this? He glanced around his hangar as if expecting someone to appear and demand the crate back. But the only sounds were the distant hum of ships landing at the station and the faint hiss of the stasis unit. Curiosity pulled him closer. The control panel on the side of the pod flickered again, showing a mix of alien script and translated common, status, stasis mode occupant safe. Do not interrupt, royal identification, Princess Leora Velen, clearance required, high level. Ravi rubbed his forehead. Royal, great, just great. He stepped back and considered his options. He could call station security, but that would mean explaining how he bought a royal passenger at a salvage auction. He could try returning it to the seller, but the auction site rarely took back one items, and besides, he didn't even know who the real seller was. He decided to at least move the crate inside his hangar before anyone else saw it. The last thing he needed was a nosy neighbor spotting something valuable. Grabbing a hoverlift, he slid the crate onto the platform and slowly guided it inside. The stasis unit was heavier than he expected. Once it was safely against the back wall, he lowered the lift and locked the hangar doors. For a moment, Ravi just stood there, staring at the strange cargo. The crate hissed again. Ravi's eyes widened. Wait, no, don't. With a soft click, the stasis seal began to disengage. A faint mist rolled out as the transparent front of the pod lifted open like a slow-moving door. Inside, the young woman's fingers twitched, her eyes fluttered, opening to reveal irises of deep gold, bright as molten metal. She looked straight at him. Ravi froze. The woman sat up slightly, still inside the pod, her hair floating down around her shoulders. She spoke, the words strange and fluid, nothing Ravi could understand. Hi, he said awkwardly. She tilted her head, studying him like he was the one trapped in a pod. Then she glanced at the small device on her wrist. It emitted a soft hum, and the next words came in common, slightly distorted but clear enough. "Where am I?" she asked. Ravi swallowed hard. "You're on a human outpost. Small station. I'm Ravi. I sort of bought this crate. I didn't know there was." He gestured toward her. "You inside it." Her golden eyes narrowed slightly. "You purchased me." No, not like that. I was bidding on scrap. I thought this was debris from a wreck." He ran a hand through his hair. "Look, this is all a mistake." The woman seemed to study his face for a moment longer, then stepped out of the pod. She moved with grace, her bare feet silent on the hangar floor. She was taller than he expected, and despite her elegant clothing, there was an alertness in her stance, like someone who was ready to defend herself if needed. "My name is Leora," she said at last. "Princess Leora Velen. My ship was attacked." Ravi blinked. "Attacked? By who?" Before she could answer, his comlink buzzed. He pulled the small device from his pocket and saw an unfamiliar code flashing on the screen. He hesitated, then answered. A distorted voice crackled. Through the line, "If you have lot 49, hide it immediately." "They are coming." Ravi's mouth went dry. "Who's this? How do you—" The connection cut off. Leora's expression tightened. "They found me." Ravi took a step back. "Hold on. Who's they?" "What's going on?" She glanced toward the hangar doors as if she could see straight through them. "A rival faction. They seek control of my people's council. If they capture me, my family's rule will end, and my people will suffer." Ravi let out a sharp laugh, though there was no humor in it. "This is not my problem. I just wanted some spare metal." Her golden eyes met his, calm but unyielding. "And yet, here I am, in your hangar, because of your bid." Before Ravi could reply, the deep rumble of a ship passing overhead shook the walls. It wasn't a cargo hauler or a transport. The sound was too sharp, too heavy. Leora's voice dropped to a whisper. "They are here." Ravi ran to the control panel and checked the station's outer cameras. A sleek black ship had just docked at one of the private bays. Its hull was marked with no symbols, no flags. A ghost ship. "Great," Ravi muttered. "Pirates, or worse." He turned back to her. "All right, here's the plan. I'm getting you off this station before they knock on my door. You can explain everything later." Leora tilted her head, as if surprised by his sudden decision. "You would help me," Ravi sighed. "I don't exactly have a choice, do I? If they find you here, they'll think I'm part of whatever this is, and I'm not in the mood to get shot today, for the first time." A faint smile touched her lips. "Then we must move quickly." Ravi grabbed his datapad and started locking down non-essential systems in the hangar. He checked his freighter, the Starlark, which was parked just beyond the side bay. She wasn't the fastest ship in the sector, but she could outrun anything if given a head start. Meanwhile, Leora moved with quiet precision, scanning the stasis pod's interface and shutting it down completely. She didn't seem panicked, even though danger was closing in. "You've done this before," Ravi remarked as he powered up the ship's engines. She gave him a sidelong glance. "Escaping?" "More times than I cared to count." The hangar lights flickered, a sign that an external override was being attempted. Someone was trying to open the doors from the outside. "They found my bay," Ravi muttered. "Then we go now," Leora said firmly. Without another word, they ran toward the Starlark. The engines roared to life, and the ship's ramp closed. Just as the hangar's outer doors began to open, from the cockpit, Ravi caught a glimpse of dark figures rushing inside. He pushed the throttle forward, and the Starlark shot out into the open void. Behind them, the black ship turned to follow. The Starlark burst out from the docking lane, engines straining under Ravi's grip on the controls. The hum of the thrusters filled the cockpit, a sound that usually brought him comfort. But today it was like the beating of a war drum, fast, loud, urgent. Through the forward display, the black ship followed like a shadow. Its sleek hull reflected the light of the twin suns, making it look like a shard of darkness cutting through space. Ravi's hands moved across the console, switching the ship to manual. "Hold on," I'm going to try to lose them in the traffic lanes. Leora stood beside him, one hand resting on the back of the co-pilot's seat. She didn't seem afraid, but her golden eyes stayed fixed on the pursuing vessel. That is not a pirate ship, she said. Quietly, Ravi glanced at her. Then what is it? It belongs to the faction I spoke of, the Drell Ascendancy. They will not stop until I am in their hands, or until I am gone. Ravi frowned. Gone isn't gone, she confirmed, her tone flat. The thought sent a cold shiver down his spine. He'd been in dangerous situations before, faulty engines, faulty buyers, faulty everything, but this was different. This was about survival, not profit. He steered the Starlark into a busy shipping quarter, weaving between cargo freighters and transport shuttles. The black ship followed, keeping its distance but never losing sight of them. They're just watching us, Ravi muttered. Why aren't they firing? They want me alive, Leora said. They will wait until we are far from witnesses. Then they will act. The comlink crackled suddenly. A voice, the same distorted tone from before, came through. Change course to heading 13 to 47. Now, do not ask questions. Ravi frowned. Who are you? And why should I do it? The voice interrupted sharply. Or you won't survive the next 10 minutes? The signal cut out before he could respond. Leora's eyes narrowed. Do you trust them? Ravi gave a dry laugh. I don't even know them. But, she pressed. But they knew about you before I even opened that crate. That means they might be on your side. Or at least not trying to kill us right now. He adjusted the controls, shifting the Starlark toward the new heading. Behind them, the black ship shifted course as well. Minutes passed in tense silence. The Starlark left the busy lanes, entering a field of drifting asteroids. Large chunks of rock turned slowly in the void, their jagged surfaces catching the light. Ravi's hands moved carefully, guiding the freighter between the spinning debris. One wrong move could tear a hole through the hull. The black ship followed for a short distance, then slowed. They stopped, Ravi said. No, Leora corrected softly. They are circling, waiting for a mistake. Ravi opened the secondary scanner, letting the screen map the field. The asteroid stretched for hundreds of kilometers, a twisting maze of rock and shadow. Then, on the far side, a faint signal appeared. Not the black ship, something smaller, with a strange energy signature. That must be your mystery friend, Ravi muttered as they drew closer. The signal resolved into a small vessel, little more than a shuttle, painted in dull gray. It had no visible weapons, but its engines were strong. A voice came through the comm again. Clearer this time, but still cautious. Freighter Starlark, follow me, quickly. Ravi glanced at Leora. She gave a small nod. I know that design. It's from my family's fleet. That was all he needed to hear. He followed the shuttle deeper into the asteroid field. For several minutes, they wove between giant rocks, the shuttle leading with precise, practiced movements. The black ship stayed at the edge of the field, unwilling to risk the narrow gaps. Finally, the shuttle led them into the shadow of a massive asteroid. There, hidden against its dark surface, was a docking bay carved directly into the rock. Its entrance was almost invisible until they were right in front of it. The bay doors slid open, and Ravi guided the Starlark inside as the doors closed behind them. The tension in his shoulders eased just slightly. They had made it, for now. The shuttle landed beside them, and a tall figure stepped out. He wore simple flight gear, but there was an air of authority about him. His hair was dark, his face lined with age, and his eyes carried the sharpness of someone used to command. Princess Leora, he said with a short bow. I am glad you are safe. Leora stepped forward. Captain Varen, I feared you had been lost. Almost. Varen replied. But when I learned you were sent into stasis and jettisoned, I began searching every report of recovered cargo. That is how I found you here. He glanced at Ravi, studying him for a moment. And this is the man who won the auction. Ravi raised a hand. Yeah, Ravi. Just a salvage trader who made a very big mistake. Perhaps, Varen said, or perhaps a fortunate one. You have done more than you know. Ravi shifted uncomfortably. Look, I didn't sign up for any royal rescue mission. I just want to get back to my station in one piece. You will, Varen said firmly. But the Drell Ascendancy will not stop. They will send others. You are now connected to the princess. They will see you as part of her escape. That's not comforting, Ravi muttered. Leora stepped closer to him. Ravi, I cannot undo what has happened. But I can promise that if you help me reach my people, I will see to it you are protected. Ravi looked between her and Varen, then let out a long breath. Fine. But I'm not doing this for glory or honor or whatever. I just want to survive. This mess, that will be enough, Varen said with a faint smile. Outside the hidden bay, far beyond the asteroid field, the black ship turned away, for now. But in the darkness of its bridge, a silent figure stood, watching the last trace of the Starlord vanish from their scanners. They tapped a small console, sending a coded message into the void. Target located. The hunt continues. Ravi didn't know how long they stayed in the hidden dock inside the asteroid. Hours blurred together as Captain Varn's crew quietly worked around them, refueling, checking ship systems, and scanning the surrounding space for signs of the enemy. The air inside the dock smelled faintly of engine coolant and recycled oxygen. It was quiet here, but Ravi knew it wouldn't last. If the black ship had followed them this far, it meant their enemies had resources and patience. Leora stood near one of the side consoles, speaking softly with Varen. They spoke partly in common for Ravi's benefit, but sometimes they slipped into her native language, the flowing words sounding like music and wind. Finally, Varen stepped over to Ravi. We can't stay here. This base is safe from a quick scan, but not from a full search. Once they sweep the asteroid belt, they'll find us, Ravi sighed. So we move. Varen nodded. Yes? The safest route is to take the princess to the Velen stronghold in Sector 1000 to 12. But that means crossing open space, and the Ascendancy will expect us to try that. Leora turned to Ravi. You know this region better than anyone on my crew. Is there another way? Ravi thought for a moment. He did know some routes that weren't in public charts. Dangerous asteroid corridors, old mining tunnels, narrow bands where a ship could slip under sensor range, but they were risky. And if the Ascendancy guessed their path, they'd be trapped. There's one, Ravi said slowly. An old cargo route through the Veil Rift. Ships avoid it because the rift messes with navigation and comms. But if you know how to ride the grav currents, you can get through in a few hours. Varen raised an eyebrow. And you do. Ravi smirked. I've run it twice. Both times I came out alive. That inspires so much confidence, Varen said dryly, but Leora smiled faintly. They left the hidden dock with minimal noise, engines running low to avoid detection. The asteroid belt faded behind them, and the empty black of space stretched out ahead. For a short while, there was nothing but the steady hum of the Starlark and the soft beeps from the navigation console. Then, the proximity alarm CHI or PED. Ravi checked the display. His stomach tightened. They found us. The black ship had reappeared, gliding in from the far edge of the scanner's range. It didn't come in fast. It just kept pace, matching their course like a predator tracking prey. They're trying to hurt us, Ravi muttered. Push us toward open space where they can corner us. Leora leaned forward, her eyes scanning the redouts. Then we turn now, before they close the trap. Ravi nodded and swung the ship toward the Veil Rift. The stars ahead began to distort slightly. As if seen through rippling glass, the rift was a strange region. Space folded and twisted in ways most navigation systems hated. Gravity shifted unpredictably, pulling and pushing ships in uneven bursts. Ravi kept one hand on the throttle and one on the manual stabilizers, his eyes fixed on the swirling patterns outside. The black ship followed at first, but the rift made its sleek hull shudder and drift. Ravi grinned. Not so perfect now, are you? But the grin didn't last. The enemy ship adapted quickly, matching their moves, slipping into the same grav currents. They're better pilots than I hoped, Ravi muttered. Can you still lose them? Leora asked. Working on it, he replied, teeth clenched. They threaded between two massive gravity eddies. the Starlark shaking as the pull threatened to drag it off course. Ravi overrode the autopilot and let his instincts guide him. He could almost feel the currents through the controls, like riding a wave. Left drift, 3 seconds. Now, he shouted. The ship slid sideways, skimming past a rock fragment spinning at impossible speed. The black ship tried to follow, but clipped the edge of the current, spinning briefly before regaining control. That bought us time, Ravi said. Not much, but enough. Suddenly, the comlink crackled to life, not the enemy, but the same mysterious voice from before. You are almost through. Ahead, 30 degrees starboard. There's a grav sling that will throw you clear of the rift. Use it. They won't follow at that speed. Ravi glanced at Leora, who nodded. We have no better option. He adjusted their course, guiding the ship toward the coordinates. The grav sling appeared on the scanner as a narrow tunnel of stable. Pull between to chaotic zones. As soon as they entered, the Starlark shot forward, speed doubling in seconds. The black ship hesitated at the edge, then peeled away, unwilling to risk the unpredictable acceleration. Ravi felt the pressure ease from his chest. We're clear. When they emerged from the rift, the stars ahead looked steady again. Ravi eased the throttle, letting the ship slow to a safe cruising speed. Varn's voice came through the comm from his own vessel, which had followed behind at a safer distance. You handled that well, salvage trader. Just Ravi, he said. And yeah, well, I like living. Leora's gaze softened. You also like protecting others, even if you won't admit it. Ravi looked away, pretending to check the controls. Don't get used to it. I'm still deciding if this was the dumbest idea of my life. But even as he said it, he knew he wasn't turning back. The black ship had seen him, had chased him, and now he was part of this fight whether he liked it or not. And deep down, a strange feeling had begun to grow, the sense that maybe, just maybe, he was meant to be here, in this cockpit, on this course, with this unlikely passenger beside him. The Starlark floated in the quiet stretch of space beyond the Veil Rift. The danger felt far behind. But Ravi knew it wouldn't last. The Drell Ascendancy had lost their trail for now, but they would be back. In the co-pilot's seat, Leora studied a holographic star map. Her fingers traced routes through glowing dots, her golden eyes sharp with focus. Captain Varn's ship followed them at a safe distance, his crew monitoring for any sign of pursuit. We cannot take the direct path to my people's stronghold, Leora said finally. If we do, they will predict it and be waiting. Ravi leaned back in his seat. Then what's the plan? You're the royal strategist here. Her lips curved into a faint smile. And you are the local pilot who knows how to survive on scraps and quick thinking. I think we need both to make it. She expanded the map, showing a small cluster of systems off to one side. There's a relay station here. Abandoned after the mining companies left, it still has a long-range jump gate. If we can reach it, we can use the gate to leap directly to the stronghold without crossing open space. Ravi frowned. If it's abandoned, how do you know it still works? I don't, she admitted. But my people built the gate. Our technology lasts longer than most. Varn's voice came over the comm. The Ascendancy will know of that relay. If we go there, they will send scouts to check it. Then we make them think we're going somewhere else. Ravi said. The princess tilted her head. How? Ravi grinned. By looking like amateurs. We'll make a fake course toward the Orion Run. A busy smuggler route. They'll think we're hiding among traders. We'll broadcast a few false signals in that direction. Just enough for them to catch. Leora's eyes brightened, and while they chased the false trail, we turned toward the relay. Exactly, Ravi said. It's an old salvage trick. Make the buyer think you're hauling junk one way while you slip the good cargo somewhere else. For the next few hours, Ravi worked with Leora and Varn's crew to set the plan in motion. They recorded decoy transmissions, adjusting them to sound like real navigation chatter. Old beacons from Varn's storage were programmed to emit the Starlark's signature and sent on slow-moving drones toward the Orion Run. Inside the cockpit, Leora sat beside Ravi, watching his hands move across the controls. You do this quickly, she said. I've been lying to scanners my whole life. Ravi replied with a smirk. Sometimes it's the only way to make a living. Your kind, she said softly, has a talent for adapting to anything. Ravi raised an eyebrow. Humans, she nodded. We plan for years, but when the plan fails, we falter. You, but just in moments. It is why I believe we will succeed. Ravi looked away, focusing on the star map. Compliments weren't something he heard often, and they left him more off balance than enemy ships did. Once the decoys were launched, they turned the Starlark toward the abandoned relay station. The journey would take 2 days at safe cruising speed. The first day passed without trouble. Ravi spent part of it repairing small systems in the ship, the life support filters, a sticking thruster, and the comm relay that had been glitching since the auction station. Leora joined him in the engine room, curious about the old human machinery. This is simple compared to our ships, she said, examining the worn thruster coils. Simple is good. Ravi replied, you can fix it with your hands instead of needing a team of techs. She smiled faintly. Perhaps simplicity is another reason your people survived so much. By the second day, the mood in the ship had grown heavier. The closer they came to the relay, the more likely it was that the ascendancy might appear. Near the end of their journey, the relay station came into view, a massive, silent wheel drifting in the dark, its outer sections dim, its central core cold. The jump gate extended from one side like a great silver arch, its center dark and still. It looks dead, Ravi said. It only sleeps, Leora replied. We will wake it. They docked at one of the relay's ancient ports. The air inside the station was stale but breathable. Dust floated in the corridors, disturbed by their footsteps. Leora led the way toward the gate control room, her movements confident, as if she had walked here before. Ravi followed, scanning the shadows. The place felt too quiet. Inside the control room, Leora activated a panel. The alien symbols glowed faintly, and she began entering long strings of commands. Slowly, the jump gate outside began to hum. It will take 15 minutes to reach full charge, she said. Plenty of time for trouble to find us, Ravi muttered as if on cue. Varn's voice came over the comm. 2 ships just entered. The system, ascendancy signatures, they followed us, Ravi asked, or they were waiting here. Varn replied grimly. Leora's hands moved faster over the controls. We must hold until the gate is ready. Ravi ran back to the Starlark, firing up the ship's defenses. The station itself had no working weapons, but the Starlark still had a pair of mining lasers and some improvised flares. Varn's vessel moved to block the incoming ships, buying them time. From the cockpit, Ravi could see the jump gate's silver arch beginning to glow faintly. He opened a channel to Leora. Tell me the second that gate's ready. We won't get a second chance. Her voice came back calm, but urgent. 8 minutes. The first enemy ship fired as soon as it came into range. Varn's shields took the hit, and he fired back, keeping them from advancing. But the second ship broke away, moving toward the station. Not today, Ravi muttered. He swung the Starlark out of dock, aiming the mining lasers at the attacker. The beams weren't powerful enough to destroy it, but they were enough to make the pilot hesitate. For minutes, Leora's voice came through. The enemy fired again, this time hitting the Starlark. The hull shuddered, alarms blaring, but Ravi held his course. At last, Leora's voice rang through the comm. The gate is open. Ravi didn't wait. He pulled the Starlark into a sharp turn, racing toward the arch. Varn's ship followed. Close behind, both vessels diving into the swirling light at the gate's center. Behind them, the enemy ships tried to close the gap, but the light consumed the Starlark first. Pulling them into the safety of the jump corridor, Ravi let out a long breath. We made it, for now, Leora said quietly, standing beside him. But the next step will be harder. The jump gate released the Starlark and Varn's ship into a vast stretch of space, lit by the pale light of a blue-white sun. In the distance, the glowing towers of the Illyrian stronghold floated above a silver planet, their shapes like delicate crystal blades against the darkness. Ravi had never seen anything so beautiful or so alien. Leora stood beside him in the cockpit, her golden eyes fixed on her home. We are close, she said softly. But the moment of peace lasted only seconds. The ship's sensors began to wail, and the display lit up with red warnings. Multiple contacts incoming, Ravi said grimly. Varn's voice came through the comm, sharp and urgent. The Ascendancy is here. They must have used another gate on the scanner. Ravi counted 6 enemy ships, far more than they had faced before. 2 of them were heavy cruisers, bristling with weapons. They won't let us reach the stronghold. Leora said, they will destroy us here. Ravi's hands tightened on the controls. Not if we move fast. He opened a channel to Varn. We can't take them head on. We need to break through their line and get you and Leora to the stronghold. Varn's calm voice replied, agreed. I will draw their fire. You run. The battle began with a blaze of light. Varn's ship surged forward, firing every weapon it had, forcing the Ascendancy cruisers to turn toward him. Smaller enemy fighters broke away, moving to cut off the Starlark. Ravi pushed the thrusters to maximum, weaving between bursts of enemy fire. The ship shook as a laser grazed the side, but the shields held. Leora strapped herself into the co-pilot's seat, her hands flying over the targeting controls. I will take the left flank, she said. You know how to use human weapons? Ravi asked. Her lips curved faintly. I learned quickly. A fighter swept in from above, its cannon spitting blue bolts. Leora's aim was sharp. The Starlark's mining laser caught the fighter's wing, sending it spinning out of control. Ravi grinned. Not bad for your first try. She gave a quick smile but kept her focus. Another fighter broke toward them, but Ravi jerked the ship sideways, letting its fire pass harmlessly into empty space. They were getting closer to the stronghold, but the cruisers were closing in. Behind them, Varn's voice crackled over him. The comm. They're ignoring me now. All ships moving toward you. They must know I'm on board. Leora said. Her voice was calm, but Ravi could hear the tension beneath it. Ravi's mind raced. Then we'll give them something else to worry about. He dove the Starlark toward a nearby asteroid belt. The rocks spun in the void, massive and dark, casting long shadows. Enemy ships followed, their weapons flashing. Are you insane? Leora asked. Completely, Ravi replied. But in here, their big guns won't matter. The Starlark darted between tumbling boulders, the ship's hull scraping dangerously close to the rock. Enemy fighters tried to follow, but the narrow gap slowed them. One cruiser fired, but its beam struck an asteroid, sending shards spinning in every direction. Ravi used the chaos to loop behind one fighter, and Leora finished it with a precise laser shot. Still, the cruisers stayed outside the belt, waiting for them to come out. They're going to trap us when we exit, Leora said. Only if they know where we're coming out, Ravi replied. He guided the ship deeper into the asteroid field, looking for a rock large enough to hide behind. At last, he found it, a mountain-sized asteroid with a narrow tunnel cutting through. This will be tight, he muttered. He angled the Starlark into the tunnel. The walls rushed past, just meters from the hull. At the far end, the blackness of open space waited. Hold on, Ravi warned. The moment they shot out the other side, he cut the engines and drifted into the shadow of the asteroid, letting the Starlark vanish from enemy sensors. Through the front window, they could see the cruisers repositioning, scanning the wrong area. They don't know where we went, Leora whispered. Not yet, Ravi said. We'll slip past while they're looking the other way. They powered up the engines again, flying low along the asteroid's surface before turning sharply toward the stronghold. Varn's ship, still fighting near the edge of the belt, saw their move and began covering them with suppressive fire. The stronghold's defense grid came to life, long beams of white energy lancing out toward the enemy ships. One cruiser took a direct hit and exploded in a silent burst of light. Cheers filled the Starlark's cockpit, but the Ascendancy wasn't finished. The fighters broke through the stronghold's defense fire and came straight for the Starlark. Ravi's hands tightened on the controls. Let's finish this. Leora locked onto the first fighter, her laser hitting its engines. It spun out and collided with the second fighter in a flash of fire. The path was finally clear. The Starlark soared into the docking bay of the Illyrian stronghold. As the ramp lowered, a group of armored guards rushed forward, their armor gleaming silver. They bowed to Leora, speaking in a language Ravi couldn't understand. One of the guards looked at him. "You brought her home," the guard said in accented common. "You have the gratitude of the Illyrian people." Ravi gave a tired smile. "Just doing my job." Leora turned to him. "No, Ravi, you did far more than that. You risked your life. For someone you did not know. My people will never forget." For a moment, they stood there in the bright light of the stronghold's hangar. The noise of repairs and soldiers moving around them, Ravi felt strangely out of place, but also proud. The battle was over, but he knew their story wasn't finished yet. The Illyrian stronghold was unlike anything Ravi had seen before. Vast halls of crystal and silver stretched into the distance, glowing with soft blue light. The walls seemed alive, faintly humming as though carrying the heartbeat of the city itself. He walked beside Leora, guided by two guards in polished armor everywhere they passed. Illyrians stopped and bowed to her. Ravi could feel the weight of the moment. They were not just greeting her. They were welcoming back a lost hope. At the end of a long hallway, the group entered a great chamber. Thousands of Illyrians stood on terraces carved into the walls, their robes shimmering with pale colors. At the far end, a throne of crystal awaited. Shaped like the wings of a bird in flight. An elderly Illyrian stepped forward. His hair was silver white, his eyes calm but sharp. "Princess Leora," he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "The council has awaited this day for many cycles. We feared you were lost forever." Leora bowed her head respectfully. "I was saved," she said, glancing toward Ravi. "Not by my people, but by a human." Every head in the chamber turned to look at him. Ravi felt suddenly very small under their gaze. The elders smiled faintly. "Then this human is owed our thanks." Ravi rubbed the back of his neck. "I didn't do it for thanks," he said quietly. "I just couldn't leave her behind." A ripple of murmurs passed through the Illyrians. The elders studied him for a long moment. "Perhaps that is why your actions matter most." The coronation began. Leora stepped up to the crystal throne, kneeling before it. The elder placed a crown of silver and blue gems upon her head. "With this crown," he declared, "we restore the line of Illyria. Princess Leora is now Queen Leora, rightful ruler of our people." The chamber erupted in a chorus of voices, a song in a language Ravi did not know. The sound filled the air like wind across 1,000 bells. When the voices faded, Leora rose from the throne. "There's one more thing," she said. "Our traditions say a ruler must speak an oath. My oath will not be only to Illyrians, but to all who stand for what is right, no matter their homeworld." She looked at Ravi directly. "Ravi of Earth, come forward." He hesitated. I'm not really dressed for royal ceremonies." Her eyes softened. "You are dressed as the man who risked everything for another." "That is enough." Ravi stepped forward, his boots clicking softly on the crystal floor. Leora raised her hand, and the elder brought forward a small, glowing shard of crystal. "This is the Heartstone," Leora said. "It has been held by Illyrian rulers for generations. It binds our words to truth." She touched the Heartstone, and its light grew brighter. "I, Leora of Illyria, swear that this human, Ravi, is forever a friend to our people. His courage will be remembered in our halls, and his name will be spoken with honor." The crowd echoed the word honor in perfect unison. Ravi shifted uncomfortably. Thanks." "That's a lot." Leora smiled warmly. "It is not." "Thanks, Ravi. It is a promise." After the ceremony, Ravi stood with Leora on a balcony overlooking the silver planet below. Ships moved slowly across the sky, their hulls glinting in the sunlight. "You didn't have to do that," he said quietly. "Yes, I did," she replied. "Your people have not always been part of the wider galaxy, but humans have something precious, the ability to act without expecting reward. That is worth more than you know." He leaned on the railing. "So, what now? Do I just go home?" "That is for you to decide." Leora said, "You could return to Earth, live as you did before, or you could stay. Illyria needs allies." And she paused, as if choosing her words carefully. "I would like you to be one of them, Ravi chuckled. You're offering me a job, a place. She corrected, one where your voice will be heard. Before he could answer, Varun approached from behind. His normally calm face was more serious than usual. The Ascendancy fleet has withdrawn, he said. But they will return. We bought time, not peace. Leora's gaze hardened. Then we will use that time well. She looked back at Ravi. If you stay, you will not be standing in the shadow of danger. You will be standing in its path. Ravi thought for a long moment. Back home, he had been just another scavenger, bidding on forgotten scrap. Here, he had faced danger, outflown warships, and brought a queen home. He smiled faintly. I think I've had enough quiet days for one lifetime. Leora's expression softened. Then welcome to Illyria, Counselor Ravi. The title felt strange on his tongue. But in that moment, he realized something. Humans might be new to the galaxy, but they had a place in it, not because of advanced technology or vast fleets, but because they were willing to do what others wouldn't, far below. The silver planet turned slowly in the light of its sun. The stronghold's towers shone like beacons, and somewhere out there, the Ascendancy was plotting its return. But Ravi wasn't afraid, because now he had a new home and a promise to keep.